Okay. Look, YouTube. All right. We fixed it. There's not much help for that. So, little Sophie decided to streak. Hi. And, Dad, I'm going to answer you on here. Hello, Dad. Hey, can you hear me?
Papa?
I'm going to put you on speakerphone.
What's that, Papa?
Okay.
How come you shut it off?
Well, because Sophie ran across the screen naked as a jaybird.
Oh.
And I don't know. Hi, Papa. So I shut it off immediately and deleted it forever. So
You deleted it.
I'm back online now. We're back on now. But I lost all that. I lost everything I did.
I had an answer for your damn question.
Okay.
Yeah. How can you get people together without having a bunch of idiots involved?
Yeah, you got an answer for that question?
Yeah, that's almost an impossibility in America because, like Bill Burr said about the whores, we're suffering from an epidemic of idiots.
Oh. Well.
It's almost a disease.
Well, I think it's like George Carlin said, they want us to be idiots.
Yeah. And it's and the reason you can't get it done is for the same reason that the prisoners don't take over the prisons. I was one guy watching over 76 people all by myself. Now, they can have you anytime they want to, but they're not. It's not that they know they can't do it. It's that they're afraid of the long-term consequences down the road. Because they know how it's going to end.
Yeah, they don't care because they're not really trying to fix anything.
They're going to lose on the end of it. Yeah.
Well,
because they'll either bring them under control or kill them, and I wouldn't surprise that against the current government. Well, just bring in the National Guard, just shoot down American citizens. They don't want to agree with it. Biden said the other day, he wished that, he was willing to work with any Republican. And I'm thinking, yeah, as long as they agree with the way you want to do it.
That's right.
What a joke.
So are you able to watch me on YouTube now? Did it pop back up? Or did you just see it pop up on your screen?
I can watch it on TV on my when I was commenting, I was on my computer.
Oh, okay.
I can't comment on TV.
Well, maybe you can leave it up for the comments on your computer and you can watch it on TV.
But I was watching it on my phone when I said hey.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Because I didn't know if it was. Yeah.
Hey, you little beautiful.
Hey.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Yeah, that sucks. I had it taken me a while to get up to. I don't know. I mean, it sounds silly to say how many people were watching, but I did have 5 people watching. That was kind of neat. And then little Sophie just decided to pull a Ray Stevens and just run right across the camera. And I just immediately hit end and got on YouTube and deleted it forever. And put a diaper on her, and I made a deal with you, Sophie, didn't I? I said, please, 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 leave this on. Are you going to leave it on? You will? You promise? Okay. I hope so. She likes to be free, YouTube. I like to be free. You didn't see her run through there? Well, there's a little bit of a delay, so maybe it didn't go, hopefully. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't be the only parent on YouTube, so it happens.
Be like a liberal to give you hell and say,
Oh, they would. I mean, that's
"We need
that's
to
the
investigate him.
that's
He's
the
got 10
people. I
children
mean, they'd throw the
and
book
children
at you,
running
man.
around in his room."
They would. I don't. They would. They're hopelessly hateful.
Yeah,
So
hell no. Let's do an FBI raid.
yeah, no, I don't doubt it. I mean, we're talking about who's the FBI today? Are they on our side? I don't think so. Well, hey, are you watching my new stream on YouTube? The one I got going right now?
No.
Okay, well, try to watch it because I want to do this Jimmy video and then I'm going to get off here, I guess. Or I might try to talk to you about the video. So see if you can find it.
Okay.
Okay, I love you.
Love you later.
Bye. All right. I might call my dad back on the phone, YouTube. I know I lost everybody that was watching. But it's life, man. Sometimes you do a good hour and a half, 2 hours of quality commentary, and your 2-year-old decides to streak. It's like an act of God. What do? You can dress her up in winter clothes, and she will just It happens. So, to my one viewer, I'm going to be right back because after I show this video, I'm going to try to call my dad and ask for his comments and opinions on it since he is MAGA adjacent. And I think it could be beneficial. So, yeah. If anybody else wonders why this video started so weird and abruptly, I had done a whole bit on Putin and Biden, and I'd done a whole bit that I was very proud of on Jerome Powell. And then my 2-year-old decided to streak across the screen. So I immediately shut the stream down, immediately deleted the video. And I had one last video I was going to go over, which is the Jimmy Dore communism video. And I'm going to go over it right now. And then I'm going to try to call my dad and get his opinion on it or get him on here if he can. So I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I don't really care so much about the Biden clip and the Putin clip. The main thing with Putin was if America respects democracy so much and Donetsk and Lugansk are about to have an election to vote whether they want to be part of Russia or not, I really can't wait to see America respect that election. America dangles democracy, and then if you don't vote the right way, you get this. Russia knows that, and they're sick of playing games. I compared it to like a bar fight. There's a real cocky guy, America. There's the toughest guy in the bar, Russia. Doesn't talk any smack, but is willing to knock somebody out because that's the only thing they're going to listen to. Also made the analogy of oh, I just hate that I lost all that, man. I love that baby so much, but she is just so ornery. I was really proud of all that. And I just don't have an hour and a half to do it again right now. I work 2 jobs. So it was very important that I got it in right there. But what's the point in complaining? It's not going to bring it back. And I got the best little 2-year-old in the world. So my other clip was Jerome Powell. He's just talking about how he's going to bring down inflation by crushing people's jobs. So I played that clip, which is funny because he was like, you know, if we don't crush your job and make you lose your job today, then inflation's going to crush you in a couple years. And it's like, well, what does it matter? I'm getting crushed either way. And Jerome Powell's worth $54 million. So do you really think he has your best interest at heart? You're not living in a democracy, America. You're living in a dictatorship of the bourgeoisie, a dictatorship of the ruling class. And the only way to stop that is to create a dictatorship of the proletariat, a dictatorship of the working class that's willing to put people like Jerome Powell in jail if they try to do to you what he's about to do to you. But no one is going to put him in jail. Not at this point. Not until we organize a working class party of the people that's willing to use force. After every peaceable means is exhausted. Which, I mean, do you trust? What can you not say on YouTube? You can't question the vaccine, right? You can't spread coronavirus information, misinformation. What can you not do now? You can't question elections. Well, there's 2 people watching this. You really think American elections are fair? Let me just show you real quick what this is if you Google it sometime. I'm going to show you. I'm going to share this tab and show you how this goes. Okay? So, Google. This is a famous book called Killing Hope by William Bloom, and it's about all the countries that the U.S. has overthrown. And it's on CIA.gov. Here it is. CIA.gov. It shows every country America has made sure the election went the way they wanted. China, Italy, Greece, the Philippines, Korea, Albania, Eastern Europe, Germany, Iran, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Syria, the Middle East, Indonesia, Western Europe, British Guiana, Soviet Union, Italy, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Haiti, Guatemala, France, Algeria, Ecuador, the Congo, Brazil, Peru, Dominican Republic, Cuba, Indonesia, Ghana, Uruguay, Chile, Greece, Bolivia, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Iraq, Australia, Angola, Zaire, Jamaica, that word, Grenada, Morocco, Libya, Nicaragua, Panama, Bulgaria, Iraq, Afghanistan, El Salvador, Haiti. Some of those I couldn't pronounce, y'all. I am an American. Okay. But let's pull up this Jimmy video. Let's question Pelosi. That's a good idea, Dad. Let's question Pelosi. So I'm going to stop sharing CIA. I'm going to pull up Jimmy Dore here. We're going to go through this video. All right. Oh, I really wanted each one of these streams to be 2 hours. I think I'd already done if that hadn't happened with my streaking 2-year-old, I would have about an hour and 45 minutes, but I don't know. It's not going to happen tonight. Dad getting personal with Pelosi. Okay, people are going to like that. Based Gary. Okay. Well, let's go over this with Jimmy Dore. Debating MAGA communism. This is the video.
Now, Jackson, there's been a lot of...
Here we go.
Now, Jackson...
Why does this start playing automatically? Share screen. Brave tab. Right here. Share tab audio. Okay. Okay. Make it big. Put me in the bottom corner. And here we go. My commentary on this video, which made me scream at the TV like I'm Gary McConnell.
Now, Jackson, there's been a lot of controversy as of late about MAGA communism. And so I want you to tell us what is, because no one can really define what it is. And the people who seem to like to talk about it the most won't talk to you directly about it. So I want you to tell me what is MAGA communism?
MAGA communism is an idea that I didn't come up with. Haas of the Infrared Show, who we went out to dinner in LA together. He's a good guy.
I remember Haas. Yeah,
so he came up with it. The idea is that a lot of the left in America right now is not aligned with us on the issues that matter most when it comes to defeating big tech, nationalizing big tech, protecting free speech, abolishing the CIA, the FBI, going against the endless wars, these sorts of things, going against big pharma, big agriculture. They kind of run in line with the average Democratic Party sentiment. And the working class, which not in its entirety, but I would say in large part makes up the MAGA movement, is aligned with communists on this issue, or, leftist, whatever. But there definitely is a strong line that can be drawn between Marxists and MAGA on this very issue, or on these very issues. And at the end of the day, I think that what we've seen undoubtedly from the Trump administration in their 4 years is that it was either consciously or in some cases unconsciously doing the bidding of the deep state. We saw that countless times throughout the Trump administration.
So let's just stop right there. MAGA, Trump supporters, do you feel like the deep state was on the side of the Democratic Party during Trump's presidency? What do you think? Because communists sure think he was. The real ones, the ones that are really concerned with the working man, they're not on all the woke BS. Those people are liberals. Red libs. Liberals pretending to be communists. They are not real communists. They're fake. They're more concerned with culture issues, what bathroom you can use, abortion. They're not concerned about who really holds political power in this country and what they're going to do with it to put more money in your pocket.
So I see it as the goal of this project of MAGA communism to be able to highlight the contradictions between the oligarchical ruling class and the working class movement itself, that is MAGA, and trying to uproot the liberalism and globalism and neoconservatism that's finding its way within MAGA party politics. So that's the broad goal. It's not an effort to uphold fascism or the duopoly, as some of those people may have put it, are detractors, but it's been trending on social media for the past week. It won't stop, and a lot of people are talking about it. A lot of MAGA supporters are actually talking about it, and they think it's a great idea. So that's pretty much it.
So this is basically a lefty's outreach to Trump supporters to join on the things, the issues that your views align. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. But staying true to it and exposing people like Ron DeSantis, who, you know, might be courting a right-wing populist following through the politics that he's putting forward as governor of Florida. But at the end of the day, someone like Ron DeSantis does not differ at all from the, you know, rhino Republicans. He is a rhino Republican when it comes to the most important issues, his foreign policy and his views on the intelligence community. So being able to highlight those contradictions.
Now, what do you say to the critics? Well, first of all, let me bring in Craig Pasta. Now, what are your feelings about MAGA communism?
Well, first off, I want to say that I don't think it's disingenuous. I just think it's completely wrong. You know, I go to a lot of election integrity events, and right now those are filled with MAGA people out there because they feel they were, you know, done wrong in the last election. So that is why I get to speak with a lot of MAGA people. And it's just diametrically opposed to each other. When you go to these events and you hear a lot of MAGA people, 9 times out of 10, their number one enemy is communism.
So, what bothers me so much about this video is the most surface level, dipping your toe in the water of this issue that I could think of. Okay. To just think that a Trump supporter hears the word communism and they instinctually want nothing to do with whatever you're talking about. In a way, maybe that's true. In a very surface, shallow way. Okay. On a deeper level, I would say the things that I want politically are almost exactly to the same things they want politically. They don't want the FBI to be able to more or less bring down a president that they support. We have an internal police force. If we do have a government, they want it to make it easier for them to start businesses and put more money in their own pockets, not for monopoly corporations to just take over the whole country. Okay. I even think if you presented it correctly, the argument that don't you think the natural resources where you live should be owned by the people who live there? I think distinctly I live in a lead mining community. Who owns the lead here? Ira Rennert, a guy from New York City. Now, does he own it because he comes down here and works so hard at the lead mine that he's earned the right to own all of the lead in Iron County? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure he was a junk bond trader on Wall Street and hit buy and sell at just the right time and in just the most ruthless manner possible to be able to buy the lead company at rock bottom prices after they had broke up. The mining strike. Dad's going to be a real test of this theory. And I'm afraid that on a surface level, Craig Pasta is going to appear correct. But on a deeper level, I don't think so, especially when it starts to hit the fan. All right, so let's finish this video here.
They'll say it all the time. Oh, Marxism, communism, that's the problem. Even more than China, even more than Bill Gates and our good buddy over there, Jeff Bezos, or any type of oligarch. This is the thing they fear most. And at the end of the day, they feel that Marxism, and I honestly feel that a lot of communists in the United States, people who call themselves communists, I believe they're mostly cappuccino communists. I call them that. I don't think they really understand what communism is, like Jackson does, and some of our friends who've probably read about theory and Engels and all these other people. But they feel that it's a complete opposite of what they're trying to achieve. They are capitalists through and through. They believe in choice. And they believe that Marxism and communism is the exact opposite. So when you are around MAGA people, you'll know right off the bat. You know, I kind
of. So I'd just say that they're capitalists. They believe in choice. What choice do you have in the town I live in a small little town in rural America? What choice do you have to buy a TV? Walmart and Amazon.com. So that's the choice you get in capitalist America. Do people really think the Chinese can't go outside and buy a TV? Every TV in the world is made there. Anyway.
of sent a friend a link today saying that I'm going to be on Jimmy Dore with my good friend Jackson Hinkle, and we're going to be talking about MAGA communism. And they were like, what the heck is that? You know, they've never heard about it before. So number one, I don't think it exists at all. Number two, even though we are desperate for some type of unity with the working class, we need to stay away from labels. You know, you guys say it all the time. You know, when you're building a coalition of working class people, you don't ask who's a communist, who's a Marxist, who's a capitalist.
Well, why even use words at all? You know, words are labels. Bottle, watch, Diet Pepsi, mouse. Why label things? Let's just exist in the ephemeral being, you know? Or maybe we use words because it helps us understand what we're talking about. Okay? And my contention is that in America, they've made communism akin to Satanism, 75 years of Cold War propaganda, because they know that it's the only thing that really challenges their monopolistic power, the power of Wall Street, the power of the military-industrial complex. The only countries that are able to stand up against the military-industrial complex are either countries that are communist or have a rich history of being communist. Russia. Do you think that's a coincidence? No. Why do they demonize Russia so much? Because they want their oil. They want to break them up and take their oil. Okay? What was the name of Vladimir Lenin's most famous book? It was Imperialism, the Highest Stage of Capitalism. What is imperialism? Knock, knock, knock. We're here with our military to take all your stuff. The only countries that can stand up against that empire are countries based in that political philosophy. And you don't want us to say the name of it? Well, okay. Here's what I think that would be like. It would be like if you were trying to learn chemistry, but you just couldn't say the word chemistry because it gives people the willies, you know? It's Salem witch trial stuff. So you try to learn chemistry, but you can't just go to the library and go to the chemistry section where all of these chemical questions have been answered for the past, I don't know, 300 years. You can't go there because that gives people the willies. That gives people the willies. The willies. Ooh, don't say that word. And Dad is, Craig's onto something. This is something to overcome. Here's Dad's comment. Calling me a MAGA communist puts that get off my lawn look on my face. Craig's right. That is the knee-jerk reaction. Okay? At a deeper level, though, I think if through a series of education, I don't think they really know what we're talking about. You know? We don't want to take away your toothbrush. The idea is that we have a government of the working class, which I think most of MAGA wants. You have a government of the working class that will fight, as Caleb Maupin said, for working families. If you're going to have a government of all, shouldn't they be on the side of the vast majority of people who work and not on the side of Jerome Powell, which I really wish my child had not ran through. So this would all be a beautiful continuity. But alas, who's the government on the side of? Jerome Powell or the guy in the lead mine? Now, if you were Jerome Powell and you knew that the only real threat to your power was the guy at the lead mine deciding Stalin was awesome. Yeah, it is, Dad. It is. Why do you think they're so against the unions? Anyway, the guy at the lead mine starts reading communist literature. And I would like to talk to you about that, Dad, because I don't know if you know, but most of the people in the 1930s who organized the labor unions in America were that evil C word. They were that C word. Why would you fight and potentially die against Pinkerton detectives for a union unless you had some broader idea of how you wanted society to benefit the working class? They were called communists. Say it quietly. Because McCarthyism. You know, it's just really interesting to me. You can look up pictures of Stalin and FDR and Churchill all with their arms around each other, just kicked back, having a good old time, killing Nazis. And then as soon as World War II was over, they got rid of Henry Wallace, who would have carried on FDR's legacy, and they put the nuke boy, the idiot from Missouri, Harry S. Truman in, the yes man that didn't know anything. Yes, master, you want me to nuke 500,000 Japanese children? Oh, I'd love to. And we'll tell everyone we had to do it. Little 4-year-old girls just vaporized on the concrete. Sorry, Jesus made me do it. I don't know. Why'd they do that? I think they did it because Stalin, Russia, were going to invade down through the north of Japan. And they wanted to show that they had the bomb. What's the operation called? Haas talked about it the other night. I think it was called Operation Unthinkable, how they were going to just nuke all of Russia to kill that Soviet baby in its crib. They were going to nuke it. 100%. They're going to nuke it. I believe Daniel Ellsberg also leaked a memo a couple years ago that they're also going to nuke China after Mao's revolution. After they kicked the British out, the British capitalists who had flooded their country with opium for 200 years. And the only thing that got them out once and for all was a big capital C, communism. Okay? But we can't say that word, can we, Craig? We can't say that word to our Trump relatives. I'm sure my dad's probably going to come over and kill me live on air now that he knows I'm a communist. Right, Dad? Now, Dad might not disagree with me. He might not agree with me. Okay? But we're going to keep talking. All right? I'm going to keep learning. And we'll go from there. But this idea that it's just impossible for people to talk, and I think that's the really important part of it, of MAGA communism, is because you're creating a polarizing dialectic that forces people to reconsider their position. It forces you to rethink about what's going on. I mean, if just a handful of MAGA are like, well, I like what that guy says. I mean, I don't like the word communism, but he certainly doesn't seem to be a liberal. And when it really hits the fan, when the economy starts to collapse for real, I think those two sides will come together. Okay? Because what they think communism is actually neoliberalism. It is actually neoliberalism turning into fascism. It's not communism. Go on, Craig.
Capitalist, who's a Trump supporter, who's a Democrat, who's a Republican. Labels only separate us. It's when we remove the labels and come together on our common goals and the working class and our economic struggles, then we can bring it together. This, to me, is just something.
Leave the labels alone and just concentrate on the working class coming together. Now, where have I heard that before? What is the last sentence of the, oh, there's a manifesto. Oh, it starts with the C, I think. What is the, it's a, oh yeah, it's the Communist Manifesto. And what's the last sentence of it say? Workers of the world, unite. Written in 1848. But we don't want to encourage anyone to look at any of that literature. Any of the literature that has actually helped the working class succeed, gain political power, and defend it. The only movement that's ever worked. We don't want people to look into that because Joseph McCarthy.
Something that can be used to weaponize and divide us even more. So even though we are desperate for some form of coalition, I just think this whole thing is just definitely non-existent, and it is a way of separating us even further.
So Jackson, what do you say to that?
I think those are some good points, but at the end of the day, I think that the MAGA communism hashtag or trend, whatever, is actually breaking down the labels further. It's like, it's so chaotic. It's so in your face that when people question it and they begin to discuss it, and I've done that today. I was on One America News Network. I never thought in my life I've ever be on like a broadcast like that. And I was talking to the host, and we were actually able to break down, what it is that we all agree on. And he was like, wow, I think that we actually agree on a lot of the things that we're talking about here. And through these conversations and through highlighting the contradictions that don't align between left and a right in America, but between the top and the bottom, we're able to further come together and actually begin to address these issues. I think that you're 100% right that we need to focus on the issues, but the idea behind MAGA communism is focusing on the issues at hand, and it's not an effort to divide anybody or anything like that. And the whole idea is to unite Marxists with MAGA, and I think it's working quite well. It's starting a lot of really big conversations, and at least in the online community, I've seen a lot of MAGA people coming together with Marxists and saying, we actually agree on more than we disagree on. And maybe people didn't previously see this. So I think it's a beautiful thing.
So people conflate, I think, Marxism with the Russia-style communism.
See this, Caleb Maupin, come out of retirement, please. We need you, sir. We need you. We need you. We need you. I would pay $1,000 for you to be on this show right now. Okay. Jimmy. Okay. It's interesting to me. My original analysis of this show is you have Jackson, Gen Z, talking to Craig Pasta, Gen X, talking to Jimmy Dore, Baby Boomer. Jimmy's had the heaviest dose of Cold War propaganda in his life. The heaviest dose. He was probably made to crawl under his desk. Probably told that the Russians were going to, nuke the entirety of America or whatever. Pasta came of age in the Clinton era, I imagine. So he saw the tech boom and the market go straight up. That's colored his mind. Jackson is a child of 2008. Jackson was born in the year 2000, I believe, if my math is correct. He was born just as the Twin Towers were about to fall. He sees this situation for what it is. Okay. He has an incredible view of history for a kid his age. I take my hat off to him. He said he brought that up the other day about Truman dropping the bomb. He knows a lot. But Jimmy's trying to squirm here, which this is what happens when you are a baby leftist. I don't want to critique Jimmy. I love Jimmy. I saw Jimmy live. I told Jimmy to read Lenin in 2017 after a show. I'm still learning myself, Jimmy, but I feel you really graduate when you understand that the communists, you can't be afraid of the word. That's why I like MAGA communism, because MAGA, I think, respects you if you just actually call yourself a communist. They have no respect for people that squirm. People that say, well, I'm not really a communist. I'm more like progressive. Actually, I'm a real communist, not like the evil Soviets who, no. You got to own it. You got to own it. Some people did it and pulled it off. Who are those people? Those people are Soviet Russia. Those people are communist China, Laos, Cuba. You going to throw them under the bridge? No. You need to learn your history and be able to defend it. If you can't defend it, you're not going to get anywhere. You're defending the losers. Don't defend the losers. You defend the winners. Do we want to win? I do. I don't want to lose. But Jimmy's trying to have it both ways here. I can't explain it as good as Caleb could. But Caleb will be back one day, and he can explain it. I'm trying. I'm going to tell you what bothers me about it.
Which wasn't really pure communism. It just became authoritarianism. So I think when you hear...
Okay.
When you hear,
I'm sorry, I got to stop again. Authoritarianism. Here's my own take on authoritarianism, and you guys can add in if you know more than me about it. Authoritarianism, this is what I think came to be with authoritarianism. Okay? I'm a father in my own house. As you can tell from the stream, if you were watching before that happened, I don't have control over the people in my own house. Okay? If they want to rip all their clothes off and run around the house, there's not a whole lot I'm going to be able to do about it. But you want to pretend that Joseph Stalin could control every single person as an entire country? It's even more ridiculous if you ask like President Xi, can control 1.4 billion people in his country without the consent of the governed. Even Hitler couldn't do it. There were still pockets of resistance. I don't think authoritarianism is a real thing. Okay. I think to seize political power and keep it, you have to be somewhat popular in your country. That's a ding ding dark note for Germany, but I think it's true. Okay. I think authoritarianism was made up after World War II so you could conflate Stalin with Hitler and just say they're the same thing. I'm not a big fan of this authoritarianism nonsense.
Hear people say things like, "Oh, they're," like when you hear them say, "Oh, Trudeau is communist," right?
Yes.
They
Yes.
don't mean he's communist. They mean he's an authoritarian, because we were told, we were brought up my whole life in the United States that communism equaled authoritarianism. And so I think people conflate authoritarianism with communism. And that's why people who call themselves or consider themselves conservative or right wing would have an allergic reaction to the term communism. And I don't think Marxism and communism are the same thing, right? I mean, Marxism wasn't. How do you define communism, Jackson?
They're the same thing. They're the same thing. I feel like in America, though, these terms different ways. So, socialism.
Okay, so let's go back.
These terms.
Look at Jimmy's face.
How do you define communism?
Look at Jimmy.
Jackson?
Never likes being
They're
told.
the same thing. They're the same thing. I feel like in America.
Look at Jimmy. Jimmy is not buying it. Jimmy is not buying it. Now, this is what bothers me about this video. Is Jackson is correct. Okay? He's talking to two people. Dad, absolutely. 100%. I agree 100%. And we have to get over this word, because I believe the ideas behind this word, okay, if we don't have to say the word, the political philosophy that shall not be named, the ideas behind it, when translated and put into American characteristics, okay, communism in America will not look like China. Communism in America will not look like Russia. It will look like America. But it will put the working class at the center of the government. And the working class will have supreme political power. And Jerome Powell, the $54 million dude, will not get to crash the economy and just say, oh, some of you are going to lose your jobs. Sorry. We got to protect that dollar that I got $54 million of. So, and that's Caleb's point, that we will come together when the ish really hits the fan. And what Pasta's worried about and what Jimmy's worried about is political messaging. Come on, Jackson. We don't want to say that word. Don't say that word. They don't like that word. I've got a nice little mechanism here where I can tell you that, the Soviet Union, I know you don't like it because you were lied to for 75 years about it. Even though what happened in the Soviet Union took a country in 10 years from an agrarian backwater into a country that could defeat the Nazis, the strongest economy in Europe. And we fully supported them. We gave them tanks to do it with. And then as soon as they did our bidding for us, we said, psych, you're the enemy now, biatch. And then China did it again. And China was even more poor to begin with and more addicted to drugs. And now they're about to pass us economically. And for an American not to even want to look at how that happened because it's communism. That is brainwashing of the ruling class on such a level it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. And Jimmy doesn't like it because there you go. In the 60s, they used to tell us to get under our desk if we seen the flash from a nuclear attack. I mean, in the 60s, Dad, you were born in 59. So at the most, you were 10 years old. So from the age of 1 to 10, it's like that Bob Dylan song. With God on Our Side, he said, I was, what's he say? I was made to hate the Russians throughout my whole life. If another war comes, it's them we must fight. There you go. That's it in a nutshell. But the Germans now, too, have God on their side. Though they murdered 6 million in the ovens they fried, the Germans now, too, have God on their side. Why do the Germans have God on our side? Because liberals are fascists in disguise. And they know that Nazi Germany is their beating heart. And like Haas said the other night, liberals see Nazism as inevitable. They see it as inevitable. They see communism as impossible. They see it as impossible. And they see Nazism as inevitable. So their hatred of Nazism is their own Freudian projection. There you go. That's right. And I don't know if you knew that, but the Russians had I think it was a first strike clause. Like they promised to never strike first. They would only retaliate. So all that propaganda that you were fed to terrify you. Anyway, let's finish this. Jimmy's just, I love you, Jimmy, but this is frustrating, man. Like, Caleb Maupin, take Jimmy aside and just explain to Jimmy what's going on. You know, this whole like the pure Marxism thing. The Soviets and the Chinese went off from the pure Marxism. Why would you defend something that never succeeded? Defend the thing that succeeded. This is like loser worship. You know, this is like you grow through this. Like I went through this long anarchist phase in my own life where you didn't want to defend the communist Soviets or the Chinese because they're evil. You can't ever defend them. So you be an anarchist. And then as you keep reading, you realize these anarchists never really have any answers of how they have these very elaborate dreams of how to make this happen. But they hate the idea of power. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Well, how are you going to take over a government ran by ruthless individuals that are willing to split up Africa on a map, pump the Chinese with opium for 200 years while they grow it in India and ship it over there? How are you going to protect the vast majority from these people if you are unwilling to use political power? As Mao said, where does political power come from? It comes from the barrel of a gun. Let's not kid ourselves. Okay. So once you finally get to Lenin and you read what happened in the Paris Commune, the anarchists did not seize political power in the way that they should have. And they were surrounded in mass and slaughtered. Okay. So Caleb had the right idea in CPI. MAGA, however you say it, they're going to see what the ruling class will do to Donald Trump. Do you think the ruling class is going to let Donald Trump get in the way of their money? Come on. Ask JFK's brains how that'll work out. He's serving some kind of purpose for him, some dangle. He's the only opening in America because he's showing like 78 million people that voted for Donald Trump that this elaborate security state that is not democratically controlled by anybody is willing to do whatever they need to do to prevent you from having a government that helps you. It's their government. It's not yours. It's not yours. And you know who understands this better than anybody? The communists. And we're not going to say their name. Okay. Just don't bring up chemistry. You know? Why don't you take a ride through the sky, but you can't say the word airplane? Why don't you figure out a way to like light your home at night, but you can't say the word electricity?
Though these terms have been bastardized in different ways. So, you know, socialism means one thing to a lot of people. Communism might mean one thing to a lot of people, but they mean the same thing. If you actually read the text, they mean the same thing. But what I think that we need to focus on is how communism translates into the material reality of our country. We can take things, and I discussed this with the conservative on OAN today, we can take things like the pro-industrial mindset, pro-growth mindset from China and from the Soviet Union, while still recognizing that we have many cultural disagreements and disagreements based upon governance with these two models. Take the good things from the communists there, apply it to America while respecting the rich history of labor struggles and progressive history that we have in this country, and fighting for, you know, more growth, more industrialization, more wealth for all. At the end of the day, that's what it is. It's we want people to have more wealth. We want to lift the masses from their knees.
Yeah, and I agree with that, but I do still think that when you do equate this whole MAGA and communism situation, you actually just kind of separating those, that particular bond can be together, because the MAGA people are hardcore capitalists. And I also want to point out that I think that we can't leave out the fact, Jackson.
I want you to think about that, Dad. Are you a hardcore capitalist? How has capitalism treated you in your life? Like a rose, right? So he's saying all Trump supporters are hardcore capitalists, which means they want the government. They won't take any help from the government, I think is what he's trying to say. They don't believe in unions, I think is what Pasta would say. Let's keep going.
And I think you'll agree to as well, is that a lot of people who call themselves communists in the United States, and most of the MAGA people, they kind of equate the Marxism with a campus Marxism, with, you know, with this kind of like cultural.
He's right about that.
Came along way after Marx was gone. And that is a very divisive tactic. So therefore, they can't get away from that. I do agree that we do need to have more discussions about what people want, because I don't think
it's the same as like Edison, like electrocuting an elephant with DC current. And then you have a debate over AC versus DC. And Edison's like, or no, Tesla's like, I really think AC would catch on if you guys would just give it a chance and we could explain to people. Explain to the Trump supporters that alternating current, despite the elephants that Edison has electrocuted, if applied in the right way, would much more efficiently electrify the country and help us all make more money together. I don't think we should give up on the explanation of AC current because Edison's out here electrocuting elephants. And everyone's like, no. We fought a whole war against Russia, the Cold War, the electrocuted elephant. No. You can't ever tell that. You can't ever in America. They used to electrocute elephants in our elementary school classrooms with AC current when I was 8 years old. You can't ever teach anybody about AC current. I tell you, you just can't. You shouldn't even use words like electricity. They're divided. They divide us. You should just go zzz, 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 and that'll bring people together. And then they can go to the library if they want to learn more about the sparky word that we shall not say, and they can just go to the librarian and go zzz, 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 zzz. Because we don't use words. Words divide us. That's why we should set every library on fire. It's full of words. Words and concepts. That's the worst if you can have a whole section of books that explain exactly how to do something in a successful way. That's the worst. We can't use that word. And we especially can't use that word with people that think it means the exact opposite of what it actually means. Because it's never going to work with them. It's baby. It's baby leftism. Communists in the 30s. William Z. Foster. People like that used to infiltrate the steel industry and be shot in the head by Pinkerton detectives trying to organize a union for the poorest people in the country. And everybody knew. Caleb Maupin taught me all that history. Thank you, Caleb. Everybody knew that if somebody's going to come evict some poor person in their town in the 1930s, you went to get a communist. You went to the communist office. And they came and brought all your furniture back in and said, I dare you to do it again. They meant business. They organized almost all the unions in the entire country because they meant it. The same as a Christian knocks on doors all around town to tell people about Jesus. Why does he do that? Because he believes in it. It's that quote from Sherwood Anderson I learned at CPI, Kansas. They used to ask him, what's the difference between a communist and a socialist? And he said, the communists mean it. And that's why they have to be demonized first. Because they get done. They protect entire countries from the same people destroying this country. But you can't say the word.
Communists in this country really are full-blown communists. I believe they are more about a labor movement, a working movement, and that's what they want, and that's what we need to focus on. Anytime we bring this in,
This is just unbelievably goofy to me that communists don't focus on a labor movement. I mean, it's baby-brained leftism. It is
this MAGA and communism, it's just something that's completely diametrically opposed. You know, capitalists believe in choice. They believe that the Marxism takes away that choice, and they don't want to be cornered into that kind of ideology.
So how would you so you kind of agree? To me, it's just putting a label on what Christian Smalls did in Staten Island, right? It's finding common ground with people of different political persuasions and then uniting around those ideas. But you think, is it the label, Craig, called MAGA communism that's off-putting? Would you be if he just called it Workers Unite or something?
Absolutely.
Workers Unite. Let's look it up. The Communist Manifesto PDF. What if they just called it Workers Unite? What if they just called it Workers Unite? Okay. Let's share that screen. Brave tab. Here it is. The manifesto of the word that shall not be named party. Let's go to the very end of it. Footnotes. Marxists love their footnotes because they're idiots, right? They don't know anything. It's never worked out anywhere except China, which is about to overtake America. economically without firing a single shot. I remember the first time I looked at this, it was very confusing because there's all these letters in it. Oh, there's the end of it in all bold letters. Look at that. What? The communists disdain to conceal their views, pasta, and aims. They openly declare that their ends can be attained only by the forcible overthrow of all existing social conditions. Let the ruling classes tremble at a communist revolution. The proletarians have nothing to lose but their chains. They have a world to win. Working men of all countries unite. Now, what did they want us to say instead of the C word? Let's go back and see. Okay. I'm going to go back. We'll go back 20 seconds here.
It's finding common ground with people of different political persuasions and then uniting around those ideas. But you think is it the label, Craig, called MAGA communism that's off-putting? Would you be if he just called it Workers Unite or something?
Workers Unite or something. Workers Unite. Now, where has that term been popularized? What book? What book in 1848, almost 200 years ago, popularized Workers of the World Unite? You guys don't just read the last sentence in the book. Don't tell people what the name of the book is. They might read the rest of it. See, you can tell how much I yelled at the TV by how much I've stopped in this video.
Something?
Absolutely. And that's what we should do. That's what we've been fighting for. I just believe this is going to be something that can be weaponized to further divide us. It's the labels. Labels separate us. Our human needs bring us together. And that's what we need to stay concentrated on. And I also just feel that it doesn't exist. For most MAGA people, they're like, what are you talking about? However, I do believe that a discussion needs.
Labels separate us. Now, the only thing that's ever protected the working class anywhere is unification, which is what he wants without a label. A unification under what? A communist party. One party of the working class that's willing to use supreme executive power to protect the interests of all at the expense of the few. We live in the opposite. Our government protects the interests of the few at the expense of all. You heard Jerome Powell say it today.
To be had about the things that we need. And I think that when people do call themselves a communist in the United States, they are more kind of like all about the labor movement and labor rights. That's what it's all about.
Like Workers of the World Unite.
Because if you just talk about labor and you keep the Marxism out of it, you keep the MAGA out of it, that's when we come together. As soon as you put those labels there, it separates us.
Yeah, I mean, let's just talk about like theoretical physics without mentioning the name of Albert Einstein. Let's just talk about gravity without bringing that controversial Isaac Newton guy into it. Let's just talk about psychology without those ugly, Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung, Alfred Adler, Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You think you're going to organize a working class, like countrywide union movement without the works of Marx? Are you insane? Eugene Debs organized the biggest strike in American history. What did he read in jail after a Democrat had put him in jail? He read Marx's Capital. And he came out and ran 5 times for president on the socialist ticket. Once from jail is a prison number. The only thing that will unify the working class that's ever worked is to organize in a communist party, use the supreme political power that you get from that to use the state to protect the working class from the ruling class that, is totally willing to pump your country full of opium for 200 years.
Yeah, Jackson, why are you separating us? With your
I think the biggest thing we need to come together on, and what MAGA and communists probably align on most, is overcoming the deep state and the globalists. And globalism is unique right now. I mean, we're seeing that unfold in Europe. The globalists and the capitalists are fighting against each other. And we need to overcome the globalists. And I think that what you see them doing with the energy markets, with big agriculture, with big pharma, with big tech, are all things that we have common ground with MAGA on. And I think that rather than avoiding the difficult question of what Marxism and communism is, we should actually, lean into it and unite on those common principles that we have. Despite different worldviews, we arrive at the same exact location.
Yep. Don't pretend to be something you're not.
All right. Well, I don't know. That the term is a little rough. That's all. It is a rough term.
That's what's good about it.
It hits you a couple different ways.
That's what's good about it.
It's provocative, but that's why it's trending on Twitter right now.
Is it trending?
Been trending for the past week.
Yeah. But some of the comments are very, very negative. They're like, what are you talking about? And I'm not
all
saying
press
overall,
is good press, Craig Poston.
Overall, it's positive.
All press is good press, baby.
Well, first of all, a lot of put it on Getter, and let's see if you get the same response that you do on Twitter. And we'll see. Most of the MAGA people are hanging out on Getter. They've already left Twitter, so
I thought they were on Truth Social, Poston.
Okay, so there it is. We still have, so that's our definition of MAGA communism. I still don't know what communism is. They say it's Marxism, but I don't think so. I think Marxism.
God help us, Jimmy. Oh. Jimmy. I love you, Jimmy. You got to talk to Caleb Maupin more. I wonder if Jimmy could explain the difference between Marxism and Marxist-Leninism. It's fine if you can't, Jimmy. I mean, I know you, and I'd take 1,000 Jimmy Dores over one glasses-wearing Hakeem that can explain it all, but doesn't have the gut for it. Jimmy's a communist in his gut. He doesn't even know what it is exactly. But put up against the wall, Jimmy's gonna go after the right people. And that's what communism is. Real communism is one group, the working class, going after the one group that's screwing over their lives. And that's the elite. The people that pumped China full of opium for 200 years. Those people.
Again, I've read very little, but
you haven't read Lenin, Jimmy? Come on.
But correct. So you guys probably have read more than me. So it didn't Marx. All he did was really give a critique of capitalism. He didn't really lay out a new economic system. He just kind of critiqued.
Jimmy, I think he got this from Richard Wolff, probably. And there's so many people that know more than me, but critique of the Gotha program. There you go. Dad knows. The Pinkertons show up where you work. A guy sneaks in. I mean, you've watched Meituan with me. That guy was a communist. The guy that organized that union. And they sent the two Pinkertons in. Why did they go after the Reds? Why'd they shoot the Red in the Grapes of Wrath? Because he is the evangelist for the working class. He is the Christian willing to die for Jesus Christ. That guy ain't going to be stopped. And so they have to stop him, and they have to tell all the workers that dude is Satan. Because he's got the answer. He's got their number. Stalin and Mao had their number. Fidel Castro had their number. And that's why they're evil. They're evil. Che Guevara, evil. Hugo Chavez, evil. Anybody that stands up to them and takes their own country's stuff back and says, this is ours, this isn't yours, evil. Got to get rid of them. Communist.
Capitalism, so people understood what the F capitalism was, right? Am I wrong?
As well as how we should view the world through the scientific lens of dialectical materialism. And I think that beyond anything else has taught us that if we have these common goals, then we should be uniting together on the common goals as a working class rather than fictitious party lines.
Okay.
I think critique the Gotha program. Somebody out there is going to know way more than me, and you should come on and explain it to me here in a minute. So I know. Okay. But I'm pretty sure Marx was pretty explicit in that, him and Engels, about what needed to be done.
Okay, I just somehow you're going to get me in trouble, Jackson. I don't know how, but somehow you're going to wreck everything. I just feel it. But
only if you run for president.
Okay. Running for president yet?
Yeah. Yeah, Dore
That's
2024.
one way I might get you in trouble.
Yeah.
Pressuring you to run for president.
I wish you were old enough because I would rather support you than me. But
Dore 2024.
they're so vulnerable right now, meaning the establishment, the Republicans and the Democrats, for a candidate like me. And people are already getting ready to funnel progressive energy back into the Democratic Party. It's like, oh, Nina Turner's going to run for president, or Marianne Williamson's going to run inside the Democratic Party. How the fuck did that work out for Bernie Sanders the last 2 times? It doesn't work out. You become a cuck to the establishment, and then you start doing evil all over the place, which is what they're doing.
Mhm.
The squad and Bernie have been supporting fucking evil since Joe Biden got elected. And before that, when they supported the goddamn CARES Act. And nobody even still knows what happened with the CARES Act. And anyway, so all right. Anything else you'd like to say about MAGA communism before we change subjects?
Oh, I'd like to say that, if you really are serious thinking about running for president, the Libertarian Party is really a party we need to be looking at, Jimmy.
What in the world? This exposes pasta. What in the world? Record scratch. How do you not back the People's Party, pasta? Are you in on that woke nonsense too? What's a Libertarian Party? What in the world is this? I mean, much love to my libertarians out there, but I mean, for my people on the, this side of the aisle, what are you doing? Anyway.
I call myself a leftist libertarian, and maybe they have room for you over there.
Leftist
They're
libertarian.
not on board for Medicare for all. That's but maybe
a leftist libertarian. So that's an anarchist, right? So like you just brought up Breed and Lenin. What happened to the anarchists in the Paris Commune? They were surrounded en masse and executed. What happened to the communists in the Soviet Union? Oh, they beat the Nazis. Huh. Okay. So one's evil and one's awesome, huh? The one that was killed en masse is great. You guys celebrate the losers of history, and you demonize the winners. The winners that fought and died for what you supposedly believe.
Maybe I'd be the guy who changes their minds on that or something. I don't know. I was thinking about running in the Republican primary, right? Just because they don't have super delegates. But I'm sure they have ways to screw you too.
They have a controlled system over there too, as well. Their chosen ones are selected, not elected, as well.
How did Trump get through? And that's because
see, this is Jimmy's communist gut. How did Trump get through? Pasta. How did Trump get through? Whatever he did more to shake up the ruling class than anybody has in a long time. If they had their way, Hillary Clinton would be president for life. And that's the beating heart of MAGA communism. What opening in American politics did Donald Trump, the game show host with the golden toilet, the dude from Home Alone 2, what magic did he do to get people to scream at the lying news media at every rally? Whatever it is needs to be followed.
that's what all this is about January 6th. And this is to make sure that Trump can't run again. And the Republicans are just as afraid of him as the Democrats because they all serve the same oligarchs. So they're just as afraid because Trump would roll all over them again, I think. Virginia Beach, Richmond, Arlington, San Jose, Miami, West Palm Beach. Go to jimmydorcomedy.com for a link for all the tickets and become a premium member while you're there.
All right. So that's Jimmy Dore. All right. I am going to share a link. Liberals tremble at the thought of people ruling themselves. Yes, they do, Father. And my contention would be the only way people will ever rule themselves is by a political party. You put a political party together that's willing to arm themselves and is able to operate a government parallel to this one that is for working people and not for Bill Gates and the rich elite. That's the only thing that's worked in history. And if you're interested in how to build that, there's a word that I would like to tell you that you could research for the rest of your life at a library. But we can't say that word because we're in America and everyone's too brainwashed to be able to handle that word, the one that's worked. So I'm putting a link in here. Pops, if you want to hop on, this is the link. It's in the chat. You can try to hop on and tell me your thoughts. You know, yes, they do, Dad. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. MAGA communism. Get off my lawn. Look at that. Look at that, liberals. Look at that. Read that. Hopefully, Dad will come on here and give you some of his thoughts. The left trembles at the thought of people ruling themselves and being in charge of their own government. I love that. Because when my dad talks about the left, he's talking about liberals. Okay? He's not talking about communists. The thing in America is they've conflated the two. He thinks liberals are communists. They're not. Liberals will line us communists up against the wall first. That's what they did in Nazi Germany. Because we're the only people that are willing to prevent their little fascism thing. And that's why we beat Hitler. And they needed our help. 26 million of us died. And then they came in at the very end and said, "Ooh, we did it. We did it. We liberated Europe." Sure you did. Sure. Pat you on the head, little ones. Pat you on the head. Pat you on the head. All right. So, Dad, there's that link. There's that link in the chat. If you can open that on your phone, you can talk to me. Or if somebody else wants to hop on and talk, maybe teach me something, that's fine with me. My own personal rule, even though my other stream got killed at an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, is that I'm going to do 2 hours on this stream every week. I'm putting the work in. So, Pops can't come on. Nobody else wants to come on. I'm going to look up that Jerome Powell video and watch that again. Everybody's watching Haas. Haas has 139 people watching him. I have 3, but that's fine. You got to start somewhere. That's it, Dad. If you're still watching, that is what they fear. That's what Haas is talking about tonight on Infrared. The elites fear this. That's it. And Haas is right. The quote-unquote left are the people that'll put us down. See what Haas is talking about.
Good. Appreciate
I'm just getting started, it looks like.
that.
We'll check in with you, Haas. I'll raid you with my 4 people at the end. First, though, I like how I can just leave that up there and then go back to it. If you can't hop on, Dad. Hey, Total Disaster. You and my dad should talk. My dad's 59. I think you said you were almost 60. So you guys are about the same age. Dad Total Disaster in here is a Marxist-Leninist, and he's about your age. So it can happen somehow. You guys will probably have a good conversation. Dad, I'm going to go get my phone. Maybe you can just call me on the phone and you can tell me what you think about what you heard. I don't really feel like doing the whole Jerome Powell thing again. If you can't figure this out on your phone, then maybe we could just do it through phone. I'll go get it and put you on speakerphone.
Hello?
Hey, do you mind if I put you on the stream? Do you mind if I put you on the stream? If I talk to you on here?
I don't know. Depends on what you want to talk about. You talk about the FBI. I was like, I mean, the Pinkertons. You know, I hope all the Pinkertons in hell. That Pinkertons, you know, investigated Frank and Jesse, and they wanted to indict him. And Frank never served a day in jail. In fact, the Missouri legislature pardoned him. The Pinkertons is like the FBI. They are an extended arm of the American political government, and you know, these are the same folks as investigating parents of school children as terrorists.
Mm.
You know, I'm just like, I got no use for the Pinkertons at all.
Well, what do you think about the fact that the Pinkertons went after communists first?
What after communists? Nothing about the Pinkertons will surprise me. You know, he couldn't stand the fact, you know, that yeah.
What thoughts did you have on that Jimmy Dore video? I really liked your comment here. For you guys that don't know, this is my dad. This is Gary M here. I tried to get him on through the StreamYard link, but did that link not work for you, Dad?
I don't know. All I could do was just message.
Okay. It wouldn't let you click the link and try to talk?
I didn't see no link.
Okay, I'm going to put it in there one more time. See if you can get it to work. I'm going to click invite, copy. It's going to be right here at the bottom. It's right there at the bottom in the chat. StreamYard.com/MPZASX.
Well, I'm on the.
Well, hang up the phone and try to click that on your phone. Can you click it on your phone? Okay, I think he's going to try it, y'all. This should be interesting and valuable. I've seen very few people online try to do this. I am a communist going to actively talk to my MAGA father, and we're going to see if he disowns me. He's known I'm this way for years, so I doubt he's going to disown me. That's why it really bothers me when I see this on the internet, because people are stupid about this stuff. I am living it in my own life. I heard Jackson say that. He's like, half my friends are MAGA. This is dumb. And I'm like, almost all my family is MAGA. Well, like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like, what does unite us? Our hatred of the Democrats. It unites us. That's why my original idea for this channel was the conservative communist. And then I saw Haas do MAGA communism. It's like I birthed Haas out of my head. He was in the unconscious, ready to be born. People are sick of this woke madness. They want more money in their pocket. They want a government that actually works for working people. I get that, total disaster. I mean, I get that. He's 26 years old, you know. He's 26 years old. I will say there's a part of me that the people he insults and screams at are some of the grossest people on the internet. Like, if you see the things they say, like, just go watch a Vosh video. Play the one, the Haas stream last night where Vosh was talking about Jackson Hinkle. It will absolutely disgust you. It's the most disgusting, mean, untrue lies. So I'm glad somebody tells him what I want to tell him, you know. And Haas is that guy. He doesn't want to be liked. He doesn't want to be liked. So I don't know. I don't know if this is going to work for Pops. I really wish it would. I might just call him back and do it that way. Could you hear it okay on the phone when I was talking to my dad? Total disaster. All right. I'm calling him back. Not great, but okay. Okay.
Hello?
Okay, Dad. So they said they couldn't hear you real good when we were talking, but they could hear you. So if it's the best we can do until I figure out, we just need to get you a better computer so we can do
It's
it.
probably because I wasn't holding the phone close.
Could be it. I'm also holding the phone up to a microphone,
I
so
don't want the FBI to be able to identify me that easily.
well, if they go after Trump, they'll definitely go after you and me.
Well, you know, the only reason they don't like Trump is because he is a threat to their monetary empire.
That is true. How do you think he's a threat to their monetary empire? Can you go into a little more detail?
Well, you know, okay, we are a threat. The American people are a threat to the liberal left if we want to if we want to if we want to have how do I put it, if we want to rule and be in charge of our own government. We're a threat to that.
Amen. I agree with that 100%.
And they need to drop all this political jargon, all this political, why in the heck? This is why we can't accomplish anything. Because everybody's too worried. Well, I don't agree with my political. You know what? Take your political views and stick them where the sun don't shine. It's like Martin Luther King said, when the poor white people and the poor black people discover that they got the same problem and join together, then you'll be able to solve the problem.
Well, that's a lot coming from an irredeemable racist fascist like yourself as a Trump supporter. So are you going to come over here and kill me because I'm a communist?
Remember the Kansas? No. See, you and I are proof that we can have a difference of opinion and still talk and act like civil human beings.
I don't know.
Be so full of hate.
Twitter says you'll kill me.
The liberal, I'll tell you what, Pelosi and all that bunch, they just hate folks like me. They don't just disagree with us. They wish we were dead.
They do.
They want us to take the immunization shot. Well,
Oh, man.
It don't really do anything.
I knew this would happen. Dad, I knew this would happen.
You know what? They would have put fentanyl in it if they
Oh, he's too based. My dad is too based for the internet. I knew this would happen. Well, do you know, Dad, that to stay on YouTube, there's certain things you cannot talk about? Did you know that?
What's that?
Well, one of the things you can't talk about is you can't say that the COVID vaccines don't work. That's one of the things you can't say. Isn't that amazing?
Who says that? Science or political science?
It's the brilliant politicians at the
Political
YouTube.
science.
No, it's the scientists at YouTube. They have people with Erlenmeyer flasks and Bunsen burners in the back of the YouTube server farm, and they're doing a series of experiments.
Hey, I'll get kicked off here. You want some words for a rap song? Huh?
Oh no!
Sliding Biden been hiding.
What's sliding Biden been hiding? See, that's fine. You can say that. The things you can't talk about. The things you can't talk about on YouTube is you can't talk about, if I remember correctly, although I did have a naked baby run across the screen earlier, so that's certainly very high on the list.
Talk about Joe.
You're
Marxist, Leninist, communist. You can't talk about Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta lift him up as some kind of supreme being.
Supreme being Saint Joe Biden.
He's supreme being, all right. He's an alien. good commonwealth of the American people.
Yeah. He's an alien, all right. He's sold his soul about 50 years ago. Do you know when he got into Congress? Do you know how old he was?
Well, he should have been old enough to know better, but he wasn't.
I think he was 29. He's been in Congress since he was 29 years old.
That's why he don't understand the working man.
No. Doesn't that explain a lot, though? I feel like it does.
He's spent his whole life in a business seat telling political lies.
So let me ask you this.
Paycheck from the taxpayers.
If there was a way that the lead in the ground in Iron County could be mined by the people of Iron County, owned by the people of Iron County, and the proceeds from that lead mining could go to the people of Iron County and not to Ira Rennert in New York City, would you approve of that system?
Yeah.
There you go.
Because they're going to fight it tooth and nail.
There you go, friends. There you go. That's all I need to hear, isn't it? There you go.
I don't even know if there is such a thing, but if there is, he's definitely a part of the Illuminati.
Who's that? Biden?
This Ritter or whoever you're talking about.
Ritter.
Or whoever you talk about running the mines.
Oh, Ira Rennert that owns Dore. Yeah. So you're an irredeemable fascist, racist Trump supporter, and you were in an AMAX mining strike, weren't you, in the 80s? Weren't you on the picket line?
Yeah.
And you just said,
You know, to say that I'm, you know, I'm not crazy about union. The reason is because it's not the working man. It's not the union itself. It's the leadership at the top.
yes,
Kind of like our government. Kind
yes,
of like the FBI.
yes,
You know, kind of like the FBI. It's not the field agents. It's the about 40 people at the top
yes,
that needs to have their butt fired.
yes, at the least, or prison
And
time.
these union leaders, these union leaders, because of political contributions, they will sell you out.
So how do this is my
we
big
ended up going back for less than what we had originally got because we listened to them.
Yeah.
Tell us what we needed to do.
Absolutely. They didn't listen to the rank and file. You listen to some bigwig in an office.
You need to listen to us because we know what we're talking about. You need to hold out.
So how do you think that could be fixed? What's your idea?
Well, you got to do it collectively in a group because if you wage a one-man war against the government, they will kill you.
Yes, they will. You might even say you needed to unify in a party of some sort. A party of people.
Here we go with the party affiliation again.
Well, I think this would be, as Lenin called it, a party of a new type. A party that's dead and serious about doing this for the working people. And I think
I'm so sick of them talking about, especially the ones who are the worst, talking about democracy. They don't even know. Even the Pledge of Allegiance says, and to the republic. This is not democracy, never was. It's a republic. And these politicians, they seem to think they know so much. Apparently, they're not as smart as they want themselves to appear to be.
Yeah, I always wondered about that. I looked it up. It's I think it's a democratic republic. I think that's what it's called.
Well, they like to throw that word around, but what they actually mean is we want to be the government. We want to be in charge, and now they want to get to the point where, you know what? Let's tell you what to think, and if you don't think like we do, then you're a terrorist.
Yeah. Did you see the dark Biden speech?
Live like we do. The human being has a low tolerance for things, not only that they don't understand, but they happen to be different than they are.
Well, I just find it really interesting that you tonight you've said people need to come together or they don't stand a chance, so they need to get together, right?
That's right.
And
Well, I can't work with you because you're dadgum different. Who cares? Are we working for the same thing?
Well, and the one most interesting to me was you said the natural resources in the ground should go to the working people of this country and not to elites on Wall Street.
About it. If somebody finds out they're mining, they can get the mining company to pay them for underground rights. But if they can go under your property and you don't know it, they don't have to pay you a dime.
Well, that kind of seems like a loophole, don't it?
You don't know where they are. How do you know? There's a big cavern under your house, but you ain't going to know it. And they're going to take out the lead, and if they don't have to, they ain't going to pay anybody else a percentage for it. Look what they done to the Native Americans over the oil and over the lumber.
What they do to them.
And then they had a lot of people don't know this, back in the 70s, they had a court case where they was trying to get retribution for all the lumber that was cut on Native American reservations. Because I don't think a lot of people realize, all over the United States, they have to, no. The reservations are a sovereign They are a sovereign nation in and to themselves. That's why they got their own police force. They have their own tribal councils. They have their own, you know.
Yeah, but historically, the federal government hasn't shown them a lot of respect, have they?
Well, the Honorable United States government has never signed a treaty with a Native American that they didn't break.
Wow.
And it depends on the resources. That's why we go to war overseas. Yeah, we say it's for some humanitarian cause. No, it's because of oil.
Really? You don't think we're over there in the Ukraine to help the brave Ukrainians?
In North, South Dakota, anywhere, same way in Arizona, you know, if the government put the idiots on a reservation, but they discovered that, kind of like the Black Hills, they discovered there's gold there. Oh, well, we need to get them off there and move out. We couldn't afford to let them chip in on it, cash in on that.
Yeah, it's a little,
you know,
it's a little too valuable to let the natives.
it's okay, like to throw away around the word, you know. Now, I'm not into that, okay? But like to throw around the word legalize marijuana. No. That's a lie. You licensed it. You don't legalize. The government don't legalize nothing, but they will license it. Just like your marriage license. If you take it down to the courthouse, you're screwed. You license it, then you are subject to government laws, regulations, and they can tax you. That way, if they license it, they can control who sells it, who don't, and how much tax they got to pay.
So you don't think they have the working people in mind when they make these laws?
They say they do, but what they mean, we have you in mind, but we're telling you that only for political purposes in order to get your vote. Vote for us, and this is what we did. You know, their actions do not match the words coming out of their mouth.
Right.
They have no intention. In fact, their mouth is bigger than their butt. They don't have the butt to back up what they're actually saying. And they promise people, and people buy into it. People are so gullible, you know, because they buy into it. Well, they said they would, and words are cheap.
So what would you think of a government that made a 5-year plan and actually did everything they said they were going to do on that 5-year plan? What would you think of it?
Actually, they need to do very little. We need limited government and more freedom to the people.
Well, you know why
I'm not a total anarchist, but I do believe, like Ronald Reagan said, what we need is less government intervention, less government. And I'm quoting someone else here. If fascism ever comes to this country, it will come in the form of the Democratic Party.
I've heard it said that if it ever comes to this country, it'll be wrapped in an American flag and holding a Bible. I've heard that before.
Well, you can do anything. I mean, just like these wars overseas, you can get the American people to support you for a while. All you got to do is wrap it in red, white, and blue and package and put a bow on it.
I don't really like that quote.
Put on the bow. And, you know, in God we trust, and boy, you can sell them anything.
I tell you what, and this might be weird to you, but in the communist circles I run in, there's a real resurgence of Christianity, believe it or not. Like, people think Christianity's cool again, and they think it should come back to America, and that those values of Christianity should guide our country. But I just wanted to show you this. This is a country with the 5-year plan, and they've had 11 of them, and they go ahead and they do everything on their plan. It's pretty amazing. Mainly focused on expanding industry, strengthening the military for the working people, not for the rich elite in Wall Street.
Well,
And at least they have a plan, you know?
right. They remind me of an Baptist association.
The Chinese
No,
do?
no. The American government.
Oh, okay.
You know, we got a plan. Okay. First of all, they're trying to figure out a formula to how to make it work. If we get the right formula, it's kind of like trying to raise interest rates to straighten out the economy. You know, the right formula, if we use the right formula, it'll work in every situation. That's not true. Here's the problem. And the reason I said the Baptist Association, because, you know, if you have a church like Oak Grove did years ago, grow a lot, they'll send out a survey and they want to take in a questionnaire to every member to finding out how they feel and what they do. What they're looking for is a formula that will work in every church, no matter where. They're looking for a formula and they're missing the whole point. That's why it never works. It's because they're looking for a formula. You know, quit looking for a plan. Why don't you just do what's right?
Mm.
Do what's right. You know, you know.
How do you know what's right? How do you decide what's right? So you think it's
I got something on my mind, but I don't want to go down that wormhole.
okay. Well, I'm just sort of interested. I want to kind of tease that out because you don't feel like there should be a plan, but you do feel like people should come together.
There is a plan. There's a plan that's been in place since the beginning of time, but no one wants it. But it's too easy.
Okay, what is that?
It's too easy, you know.
What is that plan?
One of the main things is be nice.
Oh, be nice. So pump.
Now, that sounds strange coming from me. You know, I'm a revolutionary, but at the same time, my God, it's not rocket science. You know, all this political hatred does nothing but cause more division.
Well, that's one of my favorite Che Guevara quotes. Is he said, "Revolutionaries should be guided by a spirit of great love."
I watched the interview last night by that actor. Can't think of his name now. He interviewed Trump, and they were talking about Israel, and he cited I'm not trying to change the subject here, but he signed the Abraham Accord. And everybody said, oh, well, Israel come under attack. It's just like when he changed the embassy. Oh, well, it'll make things worse. It didn't make things worse. And I can tell you why it didn't make things worse. Because Israel is protected. And I'll tell you what, the reason nothing happened is because, you know what? And it's true. And that's what's wrong with us right now today. We got a bunch of liberal lefts we got a lot of anti-Semitism going on and saying they want to, you know, and saying we ought to take away the Iron Dome and not protect Israel and all this. I'll tell you what, you people are walking on dead thin ice. Because I'm going to tell you what, the Bible, this is why our economy was so good during Trump. I'll tell you why. It wasn't because of him. It was because we chose to bless Israel. And whoever blesses Israel shall be blessed, and whoever curses Israel shall be cursed.
Well, I think this is going to be one of the toughest nuts for us to crack. I really do.
Why's that?
Because there's no one more Zionist than the evangelicals in America. And I would say
the only thing that is The only thing that's saving our ass now and getting us through the skinny hit is because there's still some element of respect for God, but that's slowly going out the window.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
In fact, what is happening right in America right now today, and this will stand up. The word says, otherwise the word would, Biden, they speak about utopia among all the governments. Well, that's a lie from the devil. Otherwise, God would be a liar. But here's the thing. It said in the last days, they shall render evil for good and call good evil. Things that are supposed to be an abomination, they say, hey, it's all right. No, well, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, they'll even lie to you as an angel of light. And they'll even lie to you and try and tell you, well, God approves of it. No, he doesn't. Apparently, whenever you say that, you tell me how little you really do know about God. I love it when politicians want to quote the word, because most of the time, they don't even know what they're reading.
Well, I don't know. I know the respect and defense of Israel is very important to American evangelicals. I don't know. It's not what really speaks to me in Christianity. Christianity much more speaks to me about taking care of the poor. Don't make money your god.
Without putting Israel down.
Well, I don't know. I just feel that it's a line it's very difficult for us to talk about, because I feel like because I feel like American evangelicals would support anything Israel does, no matter how evil it was.
No, I don't, and neither does God.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we kept talking then. So, like, if an Israeli soldier shoots a Palestinian child in the head, you don't approve of that?
There'll be hell to pay.
Okay.
The reason I say that is because you can look back through history, and when they started allowing, mostly it has to do with immorality. When they had started to allow immoral acts to take over, and they accepted and approved of them, you can find out God judged Israel, because he even told them. He said, I'm not happy with what you're doing. This is why you're being judged. At one time, he put them in years for captivity for 70 years.
So you think God will sort them out?
Yeah. In fact, the 3rd chapter of Isaiah, read that, about his judgment on Israel because of their immorality. And he said, your sins are Sodom and you hide it not. He said, therefore, I'm going to judge you. He said, I'm going to take away your mighty men, your men of valor, your rulers. It even goes on down, and which is so true of what's happening today. And it said, children shall rule your streets. There's places in America it ain't safe to walk down the street because children in gangs are ruling the streets.
So I'm just curious. I don't want to,
Oh, you won't upset me.
I just know if Gary McConnell was born in Palestine and you grew up in Palestine, I just know you would be a revolutionary in Palestine. I know you.
Why do I don't understand what the problem is.
Well, what is your... I'm just curious, like, as an American evangelical, like, I've never really sat down and asked you about this.
I'm not the evangelicals, and the religious institutions can kiss my butt.
Okay. Okay.
Who did Jesus have the most trouble with? The religious institutions.
That's true.
The hell with them.
Okay. So,
I mean,
what do you think should be done with the people in like the West Bank or like the Gaza Strip?
the Gaza Strip, leave them alone.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what, Israel, and they need to leave Israel alone.
Okay.
Why in the hell can't you live together?
It's a good question.
Why do you have to have, Israel's just trying to keep peace. They just want to be left alone. And here, the Palestinians, they're not satisfied with the portion living in Palestine. They want the whole ball of wax. Every city, the most contested city in the whole world, the most valuable city in the whole world. And no, it's not New York City. That's a den of sin. I'll tell you what. Is one small piece of real estate, Jerusalem.
Well, they have certainly fought over that a long time. They certainly have all fought over that a long time. I just feel, in my own heart, I feel the Palestinians.
And I ain't worried about it because I know how it ends.
From what I've seen, the Palestinian people are severely outgunned over there, and the Israelites give them a real hard time. If you catch my drift.
Well, only when they keep wanting to throw bombs and all this kind of stuff, and they're going to retaliate. I don't blame them.
Okay. Well, I think that's going to be a hard nut for us to crack.
Defend yourself. Palestine, they don't need a missile defense system because Israel ain't the one. Israel fires bombs at them, but only in retaliation for what they said.
Yeah. I don't know, Dad. I don't want to argue with you on camera, but I've seen Palestine will send over a few firecrackers and then Israel just opened fire on crowds of people.
That's what I'm talking about. Why send firecrackers at all?
I don't know. I guess, it's like, that's why I say, if you were over there and you grew up over there, I know you would send a firecracker too. Like if they cut off your water supply, I know you.
It's based on religion. Religion. More people have died in this world over religion than any other thing.
Well, and that's the thing. Me and you are over here talking about Israel and Palestine when we live in Podunk, Missouri. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I just know that, they all worry about it. I ain't worried about it. I know how it ends. We're on, I'm on the winning side.
So let's, I'm going to put this up from Total Disaster. He says, Haas and you guys are going to have a hard time winning Trump supporters to socialism as anti-communism is central to their ideology and worldview.
I would say he's right.
You would say he's right. So I'm going to leave this stream up for honesty purposes, but everyone's going to say I told you so, Dad. Everyone's going to say I told you so. Yeah, I don't think they are. I think you're right. And but I don't think they'll ever be ready for that if my kind of people are too afraid to say the word and be honest about what they are.
Why doesn't this? It's kind of like a 3-year-old. It's kind of like saying to a 3-year-old, why can't they understand physics? Why don't they understand psychology? I don't understand. How come they can't? Because they're not mentally ready.
I think you're right.
And I'm not saying that they're not dumb. No, it has nothing to do with that. It's just that they're not mentally. They have been religiously, well, not religiously, but by the government, just like the Cold War. We have been indoctrinated. In the 60s, we used to have these drills in class. I remember, up until about 6th grade, we had these drills. And they'd say, sound the siren, and then you're just all supposed to put your hands over your head and get under your desk. And I said, always do this, even if the siren don't sound. If you see a nuclear flash, then get under your desk. First of all, if you're close enough to see the flash, I always had to question that. What good is a desk going to do? The best thing you could do in that instance is you just might as well bend over and kiss your butt goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're close enough to see the flash, even if you don't get killed instantaneously, you're going to die in a few weeks of cancer.
So I think
Radiation.
to talk about, like, so we're kind of split down the middle, you know. I'd say a lot of people on my side of the fence are going to disagree with you about Israel, and you're never going to compromise on that because that's central to your religious beliefs. But I don't think that is integral to us working together to build a government that works for working people in America, or at least to get rid of this one that doesn't work for working people in America.
Yeah, I don't know why we have to have all this. You know what's getting in our way? Political parties and religious institutions, because we've either been indoctrinated by others or self-indoctrinated into certain beliefs, and we're unwilling to. It's not that we're unwilling to change. Nobody's asking you to change. We're asking you to work together, and it's just like, I just can't do it. I just can't stand you. And it's supposed to be a message of love. No. Actually, you're wrong. You're full of hate.
Total Disaster says the 50s and the Cold War is the period that MAGA wants to return to. That's when America was great for them, the 1950s.
Well, that may be true, but it wasn't. But it wasn't also true, and it was. You know, you can't apply those rules of then to today. This is a different world we live in.
Well,
they had a right to feel that way then, because and it after what we had been through. But once it was over, they just kept it going, you know. And see, this is where people react. They reacted out of fear.
Yeah.
Out of fear of what might happen, instead of responding to what is happening, we react out of fear. And there's a big difference between reacting and responding. Fear, COVID was a classic example of what fear will do.
Sure.
When it's run by a knee-jerk reaction. You have a knee-jerk, oh my God, oh, we got to do, and you'll end up doing, without faking, you'll actually do stupid stuff because you're reacting, but you're not responding.
And I think the only way you can overcome that is with the movement of like real, genuine hope. And, you know, that existed in the Soviet Union. That's how they built up and beat the Nazis. It wasn't just because Stalin was standing over them with the horsewhip, making them do everything. But I was thinking about that driving home today. The only hope and change we have in this country was Obama, and he was just a big disappointment. So,
well, the Apostle Paul spoke of hope. You know, without hope, we have all been most miserable.
Well, amen to that. Amen to that. Hope is
without hope. If you didn't have hope, you say, well, they ain't never going. Well, even if it doesn't change, you still got to have hope, because without hope, you'll just give up and say, you know, what's the use? I might as well just.
You got to have faith. I think that's the thing that's missing in American politics is nobody has faith in a better world. You know, they're all trying to get their money. Hunter Biden.
A few deep breaths, drive a nail in your temple to release the pressure if you have to.
There you go.
And carry on.
Well, I think we had a good talk, and I think we illustrated some stuff. I like that you are for the collectivization of natural resources and that being used for the working class. I feel like you know the working class has to come together to protect themselves.
This is a land of it's our country. They tell us it's land of the American people. Well, apparently it's the land of the government, because if it was the land of the people, it would be ours, going to do with what we will, you know.
Or at least the government would have our interests in mind. Like, what do you feel like? What do you think? Do you feel like every human being should have a little bit of land to live on? What do you think about that?
Yeah, but you run into problems, because no matter what you do, it is human nature that somebody ain't going to be satisfied because they got the same as everybody else.
Well, I don't want everybody to have the same, but I feel like a base minimum, maybe, you know, before we give Bill Gates 500,000 acres.
Then somebody's going to be pissed because I don't know why they give me this. I wanted that plot next to my neighbor's got.
Well, I mean, maybe, but
I mean,
I
it's
feel
just human nature.
I feel everybody would be a lot happier than having nothing.
Well, you would think so, but we are so ungrateful. The reason a lot of folks, you know, a lot of folks spout off about stuff that they don't know nothing about. It's kind of like talking about Joe Biden, talking about the working class. What's he know about the working class? It's kind of like, you know, people talking about how to solve the homeless problem. Well, let's throw some money at it. Oh God, let's put well, first of all, what they need I heard a lady on Newsmax the other day say, and this is so true, what they need in charge of this homeless situation is some people who have been homeless. They know what they need. All a government official knows is, well, let's throw some money at it, put them up in a motel room. That is a temporary fix.
Yeah, it's not a structural fix. You know, radicals want to fix it at the root of the issue. You don't want a nicer slave cabin. You want to get rid of slavery.
Right. And here's the thing, you know, now they're going to give out, what, $10,000 checks to the homeless people in LA who happen to claim that they are, how one-eyed is this, happen to claim that they are bi-gender. You know, I mean, but I'm thinking in my mind, well, what about the rest of the homeless folks?
There you go.
Don't you think they feel kind of slighted?
Well, they just need a sex change and they can get a place to live.
And what you're going to have is you're going to have a bunch of people so eager for a little bit of money, which $10,000 is nothing today. Listen, so eager, they're going to lie and say, I'm this or that, and so that's so they can get the check. And then the government will be footing the bill, and they'll be paying out money, and these people aren't going to do it. Listen, for most of those, a lot of those people, they get $10,000. It ain't enough to get a house. It ain't enough. What they're going to do, instead of taking it and building a foundation, they're going to go. Listen, a lot of them get that $10,000 check. They're going to cash it in the first person they're going to go see their drug dealer.
Well, that's true, Dad. But I'm just so interested in like you get assistance, and I mean, I just don't know how you rationalize that in your own head.
Yeah, but I'm doing good. It's like your grandpa always said. You can give 2 men. You can give 20 people. You can give 100 people. You can give 100 people $100,000 or $50,000. Give them $50,000 a piece. A year from now, half those folks will have spent the $50,000 and still be in the same situation they are. You know, they may have a new car or something, but they will have spent it. The rest of them, even if they have it, but there'll be 3 or 4 out of that group of 100 people that will have most of what the other.
That's true, but
because
I'm too tired. Yeah, but Dad, it comes every month, buddy. You know this. I'm not talking about a lump sum.
I mean, I'm doing good.
Yeah, you are.
Managing, and I'm doing a little better every year. It took me a long time. It's taken me 10 years to even get close back to what I lost. But
well, you've been through a lot.
I'm doing good. and you know, and I ain't doing nothing stupid, you know. So,
Well, just to wrap this up.
God's blessing me because of it, because I'm not doing nothing stupid.
Amen.
I mean, how could I expect God to bless what little I get and have it go as far as it does if I was out riotous living, and you know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I'm going to wrap this up, Dad. I'm proud of you. You're doing great. I got to wake up at 6 in the morning and get ready to go teach. But I would say at the end of the day, you're not going to drive over here now and kill me, are you?
I'm proud of my son for standing up for what he believes in. I don't care whether I agree with him or not on everything. I don't have to agree with him. That's what's wrong with America today.
Amen.
People are so caught up. You see.
Well, and who cancels people? MAGA don't cancel people. It's the liberals.
I heard a U.S. senator say this. I forget who it was one time. And I thought it was great. He said, they was asking him how he got along so well with his rival. He is a Republican with his Democrat friend. He said, well, I'll tell you, whenever someone comes to Washington every year, he said, anybody new? He said, I'll take them to dinner. He said, I want to have dinner with them. I want to get to know them. I want to know about their family. I want to know what kind of problems they have. If anybody's sick, I want to know all about it. He said, the thing about it is, what you'll find is if rather than just disagreeing, and he said, it's a lot harder to hate somebody or say something evil to someone or about them if you know them. You know?
Well, that's the truth. Yeah, what's the Abraham Lincoln quote? I don't like that man very much. I got to get to know him better.
But I'm like Charles Bukowski. It's easy to love someone if you don't know much about them.
Well, that's true too. All right, Dad. Well, I'm going to get off the phone and get ready for bed. I'm going to tell everybody bye on here, and you can watch it back and hear yourself, okay?
They call him a poet. Bukowski was one of the greatest philosophers that ever lived.
He was a great philosopher.
He didn't know it.
One of my favorite quotes from him was 67 is so much better than 30. At 30, I thought the gamble had been lost. I never forgot that. I love that quote. But I'm going to hop off here, Dad.
I like what he said. He said, with cigarettes and wine, a man can tolerate almost anything.
There you go. Okay, well, I
said, well, that's true. With cigarettes and coffee, a man can tolerate almost anything.
Well, I appreciate you talking to me. I got another 2 hours in. I'm going to leave this stream up. There's no naked babies on here. We got a little debate on Israel. We're going to get together. And that's the thing, though, Dad, that with me, with MAGA, with the communism, whatever, if they come for you, I got your back. And I know if they come for me, you got my back. And that's the thing. Everybody on Twitter is saying we kill each other. And I just find that hilarious because I love my dad. I love all my family. I love my friends.
That ain't never going to happen.
No.
These people don't know what they're talking about.
They don't. They really don't.
I got news for you. You know, I ain't worried about black SUVs sitting outside in front of my house because, first of all, I'm so low on the totem pole. Now, they may disagree with me.
I don't know. You might be at the top of the list.
But I'm not a threat to them, and they know it. And if they don't, they ought to. If they're that stupid, you know, which I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, it's just crazy.
I don't know, Dad. You might be Mao Zedong in hiding. You don't even know.
Like I said, you wage a one-man war against the government, they will kill you.
Well, you did. You did. You growing up, you taught me all about guerrilla warfare, and then when I got older, I realized all the masters of guerrilla warfare were commies. Mao Zedong, Che Guevara. That's a whole nother conversation.
Oh, there's a lot of conversations. That's like America. Very hard to defeat. Even our own government have trouble because, of course, most people aren't going to understand what I'm talking about. But America its landscape, the way it's designed, it has 3 natural choke points, and it'd be very hard. It would be very hard to take over guerrillas in this land. I mean, you may take over the land, you may be in charge, but it's going to be very hard to rat them all out. And not only that, militarily speaking, as far as transporting troops and that, we have 3 major choke points. Yeah.
What are they, real quick, just for continuity's sake?
Well, to give you an example, one is the Rocky Mountains.
What's number 2?
Appalachian Mountains.
And number 3?
I don't know. I'd have to look.
Okay.
But I read about it.
Okay.
From a,
we'll have to talk about it later on. I just can't believe
here,
my naked baby ran across my stream and
I
I
think
deleted
when the
all that
government talks
good
about-
stuff.
Think about
Uh,
warfare, like Biden. Oh, you can't take over this country. You have to have an F-15. No. You're talking about an army invasion.
yeah.
Guerrilla warfare.
Ask
Biden.
ask the
Don't
Taliban
take
about your
an
F-15.
F-15 to put a bullet in somebody's head, dummy.
That's true. Ask the Taliban about your F-15.
Now you may win, but at the same time, to any one individual,
The only way they win is to nuke the entire country, and that doesn't look very good on the world stage. So,
right? Well,
but I gotta hop off here, Dad. I'm getting real sleepy, and I gotta wake up real early. For everybody watching, this is what it's like to tell my father goodbye. I love you, Dad. Will you say what you were gonna say?
it was just, I was just gonna say Vietnam and Afghanistan are 2
There you go.
classic examples.
Yeah, the commies in Vietnam.
Of course, we weren't at war with the Afghani people, but at the same time, the Afghani people, they've never been defeated.
Nope. That mountain
Look,
region's
you
hard to
go
conquer.
back, and even before we got there, Russia tried that. They left it. There's rusted tanks over there and everything else. They finally pulled out.
There you go. There you go.
And this is the amazing thing about guerrilla warfare. You can fight a mechanized army if you want to, but we couldn't even win a war against ancient weapons and guys in sandals riding camels.
100%. 100%. Well, I love you, Dad. I gotta get off here, man. I'm passing out on my feet. I'm passing out.
Okay, love you.
I love you too. Okay, I'll expect you to come assassinate me in my sleep tonight. All right. I love you, Dad. Talk to you later.
But I'll tell you what, I don't care, and I don't hate nobody that disagrees with me. In fact, you have to love. You have to work together for this. We got a lot the same things. We want a lot of the same things.
We do, and we got to work together.
And we need to work together for those things and forget all that other stuff. It's not important.
And when it gets real, we'll come together. And until then, it's just talk,
Well, see, that's what happened with this last election. Some people are waking up, but that's because they've never been, I'll tell you what, you want to wake the American people up, get in their pocketbook.
There you go. That's basic Marxism.
The only time you'll have a great political change in this nation, and it happens about every 40, 60 years.
The material conditions.
When you have, and you get in their pocketbooks and the economy's bad, then you can see a change.
And we're seeing that right now.
It's amazing to me why people have to get so desperate. But if things are kind of kosher, just so, and say, oh, well, it'll be all right.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's how they get in trouble, by just sitting back saying, oh, well, it'll be all right.
It'll be all right. All right, Dad. Well, I got to get off here. I got to go to bed, man.
It'll be all right in the end.
I got to go to bed. I love you so much.
Okay, love you later.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay, everybody. Well, I tell you what, I don't know if you guys are like me, but once you get so tired, it's hard to like tell if things are good or what's going on. I've done almost 4 hours of streaming tonight. I lost 2 hours of it because a naked 2-year-old ran across the stream and we deleted that. Hopefully, the YouTube gods will take mercy on a father of 2 toddlers. But I came back, I did my Jimmy video, so something's up. I talked to my dad for a while on the phone. MAGA came together. He still said he loves me at the end. We had a whole conversation. So I don't know if I fully won him over, but my general thesis is at the end of the day, when the economic conditions in America are such that people got to work together to defend their livelihoods, MAGA and communists will work together. The real ones, the liberals, will probably be supporting fascists to kill us both. But anybody who's really on the side of the working class will come together and take care of each other. And I think that conversation with me and my father is a good example of that. That's the conversations I have every day with almost everyone that is around me in rural Missouri. That's how they go. Okay. And I know when it hits the fan that people like my dad are going to stick up for rural working people far more than a city slick and liberal. All right. So that is my thesis, and I'm sticking to it. I start on here at 7. I'm going to stick on here till 11, just so I can say I did 4 straight hours. I lost 2 of them, but I did 4 straight hours. Then I'm going to put on Haas, brush my teeth, wash my face, hop in bed, and go to sleep, listening to Haas rant about God knows what, how he needs to go to Turkey and fix his baldness, something like that. I appreciate you, Haas. You inspire me, brother. I'm going to keep trying to do my tiny part, get a little better at this every day, and hopefully turn it into something eventually. Hopefully my kids will keep their clothes on and, hopefully I get a good night's sleep. I've stayed up too late. If I stay up past 10, the next day's rough. But it's just an hour. So hopefully it'll be okay. I'm going to end this beast in exactly 30 seconds. I will end broadcast. We got one person watching. I appreciate that out there. Could be Pops. Who knows? We will end the broadcast, and I'll be back next week. I hate that my beginning of my stream is gone, but I'm very grateful to get to do this at all, and there'll be many more. So live and learn. Love y'all. Good night.